All right, guys. So it's a beautiful Saturday, and we have Steve Harris already in our virtual building, as we call it. Steve Harris is here with us now, and he will be as usual. I don't think he needs any introduction. Most everybody here knows who Steve Harris is. Although
I need an introduction.
A lady asked me, is that sexy guy with who has been gymming and showing himself on Instagram? All right, so Steve Harris has been amazing. I'll tell you the truth that when I started out on this space, to do consulting and to utilize what's in here to do business, I remember that was how I got across to Steve Harris, and then that was 2012 actually. And then Steve Harris coached me for 3 months. I remember the question he asked me at the time. I had gone speaking at a church for 3 days, about 8 hours in total, if you total everything. And the pastor there told everybody, if Emeka Nobis has blessed you, please go on the altar and drop some notes. I was like, wow, this is an amazing time, because I felt that people will be dropping 1,000, 5,000 and all that. But by the time they got everything together and put it into an envelope and sent to me, and I opened it, I can't forget that very day. 11,250 naira. That was what I got. 11,250 naira. And then when I signed up for Steve Harris coaching, I can boast now and say that I think I was the first student that Steve Harris has ever coached when he started out coaching for 40,000 naira at the time for a month. 40,000 naira at the time. So I think I was the first. I don't know, but I'm claiming to be the first person that Steve Harris coached at the time. And then I remember the question he asked him. He said, was God happy that you got 11,250 naira? That question just blew my mind. I was like, eh? Do you know, guys, by the time I was done with Steve Harris after 3 months, the next speaking engagement that I had was 45 minutes, and I was paid 50,000 naira for 45 minutes. I felt like I was a thief. When I got back home, I was asking my wife, man, what just happened? So I felt like giving some part of the money back to the people, like as if I stole from them. Being paid 50,000 naira to speak for 45 minutes, it was unbelievable. So, but over the years, I have grown, and today I don't want to say how much I charge for speaking, because our guy will now start asking me plenty questions. But he has been in multiples,
Some more that's what I'm waiting for.
All right, so I'm very glad to have Steve Harris here. Steve Harris is a phenomenal business strategist. He's a great, amazing personality when it comes to pushing people. I mean, he brags a lot. I mean, I can say that he brags, and he says that I'm the first coach you should have hired before. I'm like, well, who gives this guy all the bravado to say all the kind of things? But then that's what ruthless execution means. He's a ruthless executioner, and then so he's been amazing, really. If you know his background is fantastic. Having dropped out of university 3 good times, and then nobody gave him a chance, and he started working with Fernando Rotoye, and from then he became a consultant, and today he's consulting for many blue chip companies in Lagos and also around the world. That's what I can tell you. So Steve Harris is right here with us. There are some other things I may not have known about him, but I think it's the right time for him to go ahead now and tell us how great he is, and we're all glad to have him here in the house. All right, sir.
Thanks for having me, bro. I'm super stoked to be here. Good morning or good afternoon or whatever your time zone is. My name is Steve Harris, and I'm super stoked to be here. So yeah, let's get the show on the road.
Awesome, guys. So today we will be just this kind of a Q&A session where Steve Harris will be laying for us what he did. Because all we do here in the group is not just to come, people come and tell you can aspire to aspire, not that kind of stuff. We're here about strategy, the how. That's why we're here. Steve Harris has written about 4 books now, so yeah, because I remember the first one I bought, yes, from 3, yeah. So I'm yet to buy I have the other 2, but I'm yet to buy the current one that he has right now. Yes, that's number 1.
Book number 2. And book number 3.
All right. So, guys, so you can see we are not bringing people here who are just all about talk. No. Steve Harris has written and has sold thousands of copies of his books, and that's why he's here with us. Sir, so all we are here is just for us to ask you strategy. You said you've made 45 million from your books. We just want you to tell us how. strategies. What did you do? Who did you connect with? Did you pray to God? What did you do? Did you leverage on influencers? Did you kabash? Did you speak in tongues? We just want to know what you did exactly so that we can go and replicate the same thing. If you went to the bar beach and they gave you some flogging over there, so let's go get flogged also. So that our Babalawo can do the work. So, all right, sir. So just tell us how you were able to pull off this feat. All of us are here with pen and paper, and our jotter, me, myself, and with my jotter here to take it.
All right. Thank you, Emeka, again, and good afternoon, everyone. The first thing that I will say when it comes to book publishing is that it's not about your message. It's not about your message. Forget about what you want to write. It's about the market. All right. It's about the market. A lot of thought leaders are very caught up in, well, this is my message. I want to share this with the world. But if there's no market for what you want to share in the world, then really there is no point, especially if you want to make money. I tell people in Mecca that, Steve Harris is not a coach. Steve Harris is not a motivational speaker. Steve Harris is not an author. Steve Harris is a businessman that coaches people. Businessman that motivates, and he's a businessman that has written some amazing books. So primarily I'm a businessman, and I think about things from the economic standpoint. So this is my very first book, right? It's called From College Dropouts to Corporate Sellouts. This book, Emeka, without I'm talking only physical copies. I'm not even counting ebooks. This book has sold slightly over 10,000 copies, physical copies, which means I have printed this book 10 times with 1,000 copies per run. Now, let me make a few practical distinctions. So, if you look at the cover of the book, let me start from. So, I realized that there was a demand for what I was sharing because I would go to conferences. I'll be invited to speak. I'd share my story, and I would see the emotional reaction that people had concerning because then I dropped out of school twice. So I wasn't talking about my success stories because I didn't have any, right? I was talking about my stories of failure, right? Because that resonated with a lot more people. So in doing that, I started realizing that people would come to me and ask if, do you have a book? This thing that you shared, do you have a book? And I realized that I didn't have it. So the demand from the audience, right, which was because the way they would storm me after, and they kept getting very disappointed each time I didn't have a book to share. So I decided, you know what, let me give the market what the market wants, right? So I wrote this book. But then I asked myself a very interesting question. I said, if I put this book in Laterna, and Laterna is perhaps one of the more, celebrated book distribution companies in Nigeria, bookstores. So I said, if I put my book in Laterna, and it's stacked right beside the major thought leaders, T.D. Jakes, Dr. Miles Monroe, Joyce Meyer, Joel Osteen. If my book is on the same bookshelf as theirs is, why will anyone pick up my book, right? Because no one knows me. Steve Harris, Steve who? Steve what? Who the hell are you? Joel Osteen and T.D. Jakes can write a book with no content inside, filled with blank paper.
That's true.
Because they're brands. So I don't have a brand. So I asked myself a very interesting question: what is it about my book that will cause people to pick it up? Because I had to look at the customer journey. If you walk into a bookstore, Emeka, there are a few things that people do. Number one, if you walk into a bookstore and you see a book you like, the first thing that attracts you is the cover. So I knew that if you don't have a brand, right, the most important thing is that the cover must appeal to people. So I knew the cover had to be great. Then there's a psychological thing we do, Emeka. I don't know if you know, and I'm sure a lot of us who are watching will know.
Yes.
When you pick up a book, you subconsciously weigh it.
Exactly.
Right? In your mind, you're thinking the heavier the book, the longer it's going to take.
The more expensive.
Yeah, the more expensive, but also the longer it's going to take you to read it. Then we have this thing that we do subconsciously. We flip to the back of the book, right? And then we calculate in our minds, how many years is it going to take me to finish this book, right? So going through the customer journey that way.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? You seem to be frozen. I can hear you.
Okay, go ahead, sir. I think you got off at some point. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. I don't know the last thing you heard me say, though.
Yeah, you were talking about raising the book and weighing the book.
Yeah. So, so when you pick up the book and you weigh it, subconsciously, the next thing you do is you go to the back of the book and you look at the number of pages, and in your mind, you divide, you do some math and you figure out how long is it going to take me to read this book. So I knew that my book had to get the attention of people. I knew that it had to be light, and I knew it had to be easy to read, right? So when I put those things together, so one of the practical things I did, Emeka, was I designed the concept of this cover, as all of you guys can see, right? So I designed the concept. We took the pictures, and I got a graphic designer to bring my imagery to life. And I remember, because it was on Facebook, Twitter wasn't big then, Instagram wasn't out then, so it was only on Facebook. So I put the cover of the book, and then I put it on, there's this like, is it Bitly? I'm not sure. I think it's Bitly or something like that, bit.ly, right? And I put the cover of the book there, and I asked people's opinion. Long story short, Emeka, in about 24 hours, I had 500 downloads of the cover, just the cover of the book. So it showed me that there was at least a market of 500 people who are interested, not necessarily will buy it, but are interested in the book. So long story short, I printed the book. I printed 1,000 copies. I always print 1,000 copies. And let me quickly say this to those of us who are authors. If you are planning to write a book and you're planning to do a book launch, I think you're joking, right? I think book launches are the laziest ways, is the author's lazy way to make money. I have never done a book launch ever, right? And the reason I think it's a lazy way is because I feel authors who generally do book launches, right, never reprints the second run of their books, right? So an author who does a book launch generally will print maybe conservatively 500 copies, get some wealthy individuals to give them money, at least to recoup their investments, and then the author then feels free to give their book away for free. But I have not yet seen an author who did a book launch go to the printers and reprint the next 1,000 copies. Why? Because the author was not planning to sell it. He didn't have a marketing plan. The author was just trying to use the book to raise money, right? What I decided to do, I was going to print 1,000 books, and I said to myself, when I sell 1,000 copies, I will do a book launch. So I sold 1,000, and Emeka, I sold 1,000 copies in 3 weeks.
Wow.
And I was not yet, quote unquote, Steve Harris. I wasn't as popular or whatever it is as I am now. This is 9 years ago. You know what I mean? This is 9 years ago. So I wasn't as popular as I am now. But I sold 1,000 copies in 3 weeks, right? And it was so simple. And then I said to myself, okay, you know what? Since I've sold 1,000 copies, let me set a goal. Let me sell 3,000 copies. When I sell 3,000 copies, I will do a book launch. I sold 3,000 copies in a year. I said, you know what? It's this book launch day. You know what? Let me just shop. So long story short, we've sold over 10,000 copies of this book. So let's do a little bit of math, Emeka. If I retail this book for, let's say, minimum 2K, 2K times 10,000 copies is 20 million naira.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that's just one book. So I don't want to ramble too much because I know you have questions. But my point really is, I think that authors who do book launches are lazy.
Amazing, amazing, sir, amazing. I think I bought the book. I bought your book, that first book, at in Aba. That was where I met you the first time. And if I tell guys my story, you know, I've been sending you messages and you're not replying. And then one Saturday evening, when I got back from work, I'm telling this story for people to understand that sometimes to reach out to the individuals and they're not reaching back at you sometimes, not just because they are feeling proud or anything, but because certain things that they experience, you know, because a lot of people reach out to you with all kinds of, and now it's happening to me because people reach out inbox and they tell me all those beautiful things. Oh, I follow you and all that kind of stuff. I just know many of them just want to reap, right? Like this morning, somebody approached me and said he has been following my email. And I'm like, and he wants me to come and speak in his audience. And I'm like, have you bought any single thing from me before? The guy said, no, but sir, you know, you're a good guy and all that. And I know that they reach out. This guy has never bought one single thing, just consuming my emails. Even the 1,000 naira things I've sold, he has not bought one single thing. And then this morning he wants me to speak and in it. So I know that people reach out to you like that, and they used to do that before. Even now, I know that they still do it. So that evening when I came back and I saw that you were speaking at an event in our back house on the rock in Aba, when I told my wife I was going to be there, that early morning I left Port Harcourt and I went to Aba. And as God will have it, there I didn't know that I was even speaking to the senior pastor of the church that early morning. And then He asked me why I was there, and I told him I came to listen to Steve Harris. And I sat at the back. And then during service, that was the same man, Pastor Chuka. I don't know if you can remember. And then he stood on the altar, and I was like, so this is the senior pastor of the church. And then when you are done speaking, that was how he called me from the back and said, where's that brother that came all the way from Port Harcourt? I raised my hand, please come. And that was how he got me to the front. And I sat down just beside you. And I had your book that very day. That was how I brought out your book. And I told you, sir, I bought this book. I was the one who has been sending you messages. And then, that was how the relationship started out from there. And it's been amazing. And you've sold thousands of books. And I've seen you at different conferences, selling this book. So, sir, the thing we are asking, because a lot of individuals, maybe it's because it's Tavares and all that. Were there strategies actually, strategies that you have utilized? Because we want to know the how. That's the exact reason we set up this academy. How can we? Did you run ads? Did you connect with people like Fela? Because people know that you're connected to Fela. Did you tell Fela to put out a word for you? Did you run Facebook ads? Did you hawk it in traffic? Are you carrying the book on your head and you're hawking it on traffic? That's the how. That's what we really want to know, sir.
Well, so here's the honest to God truth, man. And this may sound very Jurassic to a lot of people, but I've never run any ads for any of my books. I have never, not one. So I've never done a Facebook ad for any of my books. Maybe I think I should, but I never have, to be honest. And Fela did not push my book, because people will look at it and say, "Oh, I'm very close to Fela." But unfortunately, at the time I wrote this book, I had just left working with Fela, right? So he and I were not exactly on very good terms because he was still upset that I left. So he was just very upset. So we're not really flowing. So I couldn't ask him to promote my book or anything. So that didn't happen. But I can tell you something practical that I did. I realized that Laterna Ventures is perhaps one of the biggest distributors for books nationwide, because a lot of bookstores go to meet them. So Laterna can be a wholesale distribution company. So one of the practical things that I did was I wanted to drive traffic for my book. So I would post every day, Emeka, this is the truth. I'll post every day and say, and here's another thing that I forgot. Laterna is very, I don't want to use the word discriminatory, but they have a process for you to, for them to accept your books. So if they don't think your book meets up with international standard or quality, they won't accept your book. You have to write letters, they'll have to read your book, they'll have to decide, they'll literally have a panel, especially if you're a Nigerian author. If you're not a pastor like a Bishop Oyedepo or any of those, larger than life figures, if you're just a regular Joe and you want to get your books distributed there, they will, send you through a lot of hoops. And I didn't want that. So practically what I did was I would go on Facebook and I would say, hey guys, get your copies of From College Dropout to Corporate Sellouts at Laterna Ventures. Go to Laterna Ventures and go get my book. Now, my book was not there, Emeka. My book was not there, but I was sending people to Laterna. So people would come to Laterna and say, please, I want Steve Harris's book, From College Dropout. They say, we don't have that book. So I was just constantly sending.
Says you don't keep it, sir.
Amen. Right? I was just sending them every day and telling them you can go to Laterna to get my book. So there was such a demand for the book, even though I wasn't there. So you have to create demand before there's supply. Do you get what I'm saying? The problem is many of us are creating supply, but there's no demand, right? So I created demand before there was supply. So eventually, by the time we sent in the book, right, Laterna ordered, I think it was 100 copies or so, immediately. So they waived all the process of approval. They didn't approve nothing. What do you want to approve a book that is in high demand? It doesn't make any sense. Why are you going to read the book? Why there was no point, right? The only point was this book was generating traffic. They bought 100 copies of my book instantly, gave me my money. They sold, and of course, I was again the same. I'm not really big on Facebook per se, so I'm sure I don't have enough as much followers as Emeka Nobis. I rarely promote stuff on Facebook. No, I don't. I really don't. But I kept pushing. It, and eventually, this is another thing that happened. I think somebody read my book, and they were so. I don't know, because you don't when you write these books, you don't know whose hands they're going to find their way into. So long story short, I think my book found its way into the Department of Learning, Human HR and Learning of Intercontinental Bank, right? And then they said, oh, so the person who read it, this book is an amazing book. We need to use this book as the book of the month for Intercontinental Bank. I didn't know. So what happened was Intercontinental promoted my book internally, the bank, and said every staff has to go and get this book. Emeka, without me knowing, that book, Laterna just kept ordering, because we just kept wondering, Laterna is just ordering and ordering and ordering. Apparently, we now found out that Intercontinental Bank had mandated their staff to go and get the book. So a bank of maybe 10,000 people, 3,000 or so odd people went to go and buy my book. The book, I sold the book in 3 weeks.
Wow, that's amazing, amazing, amazing. So now I want to tap into that prophecy. Please lay hands on my own book so that the banks can take the book. I tap it. Let the banks connect with my book.
I'll send you my account number so the tapping can be complete.
Of course, I always sow the seed because I know where I'm sowing the seed will definitely work. All right, sir. So that's been beautiful. When it comes to these bookshops, actually, I've had my own painful experience, right? And what you just said. So when I went into one of them, I kept my book there. And when people came into the bookshop to buy the books, they were always directing people to Joyce Meyer to buy the book and all that. And it was really painful at the time, But then you've had a very good experience with them, right? People have had experiences with these bookshops. Is it a nice thing to do, to put the book in the bookshop? Because you go back, in a month, they're like giving you payment for one book or two books. Sometimes 2 months, they've not even sold one book because they're directing traffic away from your book, which they feel is local to the international guys. So do you think it's because ever since my first book, I stopped selling my books in bookshop? But I know some individuals who are here and having spoken about Laterna, right? Maybe you got ideas or what you can tell them, in terms of negotiation and how to get the best out of using bookshops.
Well,
because right now, I know your book is in Roving Heights, and there's another bookshop in Lagos too.
Now, guess what, Emeka? I didn't market any of those bookstores, right? They just saw me promoting my book with so much passion and so much noise and so much conversation that by themselves, they sent me DMs and said, please, we want to carry your book. Now, when the bookstore is the one sending you a DM, you have the negotiating power, right? So you're the one who can now say, you know what, I'm not doing sale or return. I don't want any of those things. If you want the book, come and buy it. I'll drive traffic to you people, but I don't want to come and do blah, blah, blah. So guess what? Many of these bookstores actually pay me, right? They can get a discount, but they pay me and they'll buy the books in maybe bulks of 50 or bulks of 100. But mine is that as I'm promoting my books, I'm constantly driving traffic to them. So listen to every author. The job of the bookstore is not to promote your book. The job of the bookstore is to carry your book. Your job is to promote it, especially if you're in Nigeria. Your job is to promote it, right? So if you're not driving traffic to them, they're going to look at it and say, which one is going to, because it's an economic model, which one is going to give us the fastest turnaround time in terms of sales. If your book has been there they collected 5 copies from you. Those 4 are still remaining. And you expect them to perform magic. They won't market you. They will only market books. I mean, Emeka, for 3 months in a row, right? Laterna, in fact, they sent me a letter. I don't have it anymore, unfortunately. They sent me a letter and they said my book was, for 3 months back to back, my book was among the top 10 books in terms of monthly sales or monthly revenue in Laterna, right? Because my book was just constantly in demand. I will see, you have to sell your book like you're selling drugs. Do you get what I mean? There's nothing, I don't think there's anything more frustrating for an author than to print 1,000 copies of his book and 990 are still sitting down looking at him. That's money. Do you get what I'm saying?
It's painful.
It's painful. You know what I mean? I print my book in thousands. So every time and the beautiful thing about it is because I've decided to be very alpha. I posted something on Instagram. I don't know if any of your guys saw it. And I said, money doesn't always go to the person that delivers the most value. It goes to the person that is loudest about the value they deliver. You know what I mean? So I'm incredibly loud about the things that I talk about. A few days ago, I did a rant on Instagram. I was talking about money and people's behavior to their monies. I wasn't even trying to sell my book. I got Lord knows how many sales from my book, from that rant. I wasn't even saying, come and buy my book. I was like, listen, because your book is the vehicle, right? You have to point them to the destination. It's like you're saying, oh, it's like you're traveling to, you go to the airport, you want to take a flight. And Airpeace says, oh, come and fly Airpeace. We fly 38,000 miles. We have leather seats. We have indoor dining, yada, yada, yada. And that's great, but if Airpeace isn't going to my destination, there's no point flying Airpeace. Do you get my point? So your book is the vehicle, not the destination. Send people to the destination that your book provides. They will carry the book because they're going to where your book is taking them to.
Amazing, sir. So when you said about ads, because I've not seen any of your book ad on Instagram, even though I've not seen anyone, and that's really true. But a lot of individuals here think that this is a lazy approach. Even how big that you've become, you have about 120,000 followers right now on Instagram, and I see you consistently promoting your book. You're even promoting those who have bought your book, which is what some people don't do, right? People when I teach them these things, they feel that promoting other individuals is like pushing away people from their own brand. And when you tell somebody to write about a book that they have bought, they write in a way that is so lazy. They're like, I just bought this book. Go and buy your own. Thank me for buying. But I see you. Somebody has bought your book. The person has done a video. You take that video. You write about the individual. You tell people to even follow the individual. And somehow their Instagram followers increases. People don't understand the spiritual things behind these things. They're like, if I talk about it now, people will not follow me anymore. People will not gonna start following him. That's the mentality that they have. But I see you consistently pushing people. I see you consistently promoting people who have even bought your copies of your books. And you are consistently there. Oh, there's no week that passes by that I don't see you promoting your book at least 2 times or 3 times on Instagram, because I watch you follow, I keenly follow you, and I'm replicating the same thing that you're doing. So let them understand, sir, that this thing is about ruthless execution. That's just how you have put it, ruthlessly showcasing and promoting yourself. I think if it can come from you, because I've said it over and over, but if it can come from you, someone who has that number of followers and someone of a pedigree, maybe it will sink in, sir. If you can tell them.
Let me use a spiritual example, right? You know, the Bible says that when Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead, men came to see Lazarus, whom Jesus had raised, you know? And the beautiful thing about that, it speaks to me that Lazarus became the focal point of Jesus's testimony. So Jesus didn't need to preach. He just needed to show people Lazarus, and then they would believe. So I have that Lazarus principle. So for me, when people take my courses, it's not about, so I don't talk about how amazing I am. I talk about how amazing my Lazaruses are, right? If you see the Lazaruses, you would believe. You know what I mean? And also there is also the part about it that, again, people also want to do things for their altruistic purposes or for their own self-promotion. So I also know how to key into that. So I say so when people say they bought my book, so let me give you a practical thing. Number one, I created a hashtag for my new book, Honey Why We Pour. So I follow that hashtag to bits. I'm tracking the conversation about my book.
Yes.
Do you get? A lot of authors don't do that. You don't have hashtags for your book, so you're not following. So when anybody puts a hashtag or uses any of those phrases, Honey Why We Pour, I get a notification. Then I send, or they tag me, I just got Steve Harris's book. Then I DM them. Not even really DM. I even drop it in their comments so that they even feel like, oh my God, Steve Harris reached out to me. The author of the book reached out to me. You know what I mean? I believe in creating that personal connection with my followers and anyone who's been very gracious to buy any of my books. And by the way, to all of you who are busy watching this live session and you have not bought my book, wait a second, this is a marketing opportunity, right? Check it out. If you haven't bought this book, you are sitting on a goddamn bicycle, right? I make a permission to promote.
Right? Sure, sure, sir, sure.
It's called Honey Why We Pour, and it says poverty has evolved. It drives a car. It lives in a nice part of town, but poverty is broke. All right? This book is tight. I know you're an author, but don't beef me. See, you know, Emeka, you know you can't write about money and do it cheap.
I know.
You can't write about money and do it cheap. So this book is, let me just do a small reveal. So you can see, right? You can see flip cover. You can see it's in black. Then if you're like me and your eyes are not very perfect, then I wrote it in big print. You know, I think, you know, so it's a very fantastic experience. So you need to buy this book. We'll put the conversations in the comments. So so I DM them or I drop in the comments and say, hey, thank you for buying my book. Would you be very kind to, you know, when you finish reading, would you be kind enough to do me a video testimonial? I want to put it on my page. Now, guess what? If I put your video on my page to 100,000 plus followers, right, you're going to get some level of visibility. You know what I mean? You're gonna, so there's something in it for you. So I'm telling you, you've bought my book, but I want people to know that you've bought it. So please do me a video testimonial, post it on your page, send me the video, and I'll promote you as well. I don't have a problem promoting you. You know, see guys, your customers should be your biggest billboards. I don't see, when I'm promoting any of my courses, I don't talk about how amazing I am or how amazing my course is. No, I talk about the amazing people. Do you know what happens, Emeka? I get people who I've coached who are upset with me that say, Coach, you didn't even post my picture. I saw you posted XYZ and all these other people. You didn't even post my own. I say, you have not sent me testimonial now. Send me testimonial. I will put it up. But the people who brag about me, I will brag about them. Jesus said that if you are quiet about me, I will be in front of you. I will be quiet about you in front of my Father. So get something out of it. Talk about me. Talk about you. It's as simple as that, man.
Amazing, amazing, sir. These are real great stuff that we are learning here. All right, sir. So another question I want to ask you is, how does speaking affect sales? I know you speak in schools, universities, and like 3,000 people are in attendance and they are seeing you and you have a peculiar way of speaking. Even your phone is helping you to, you know, people like like all that. Oh, this American is coming to our school. They see that they feel that you're Black American, but they don't understand that you're illegal. So, right, so
it works. Right, it works. It doesn't matter. It still works.
It works, right? All right. So how has that helped? You know, in terms of speaking to thousands of people, and I know we're not going deep down into being invited to speak at events and all that, but just as a strategy, you know, so that they can also learn that.
Well, I mean, getting invited to speak is always a huge deal. That's perhaps where a lot of my merchandise moves. Unfortunately, I find that a lot of authors don't know how to sell their books. You know what I mean? They don't know how to sell their books. So let me give you a very practical example. I think it's perhaps the biggest mistake that I made in my speaking career with one of my books. So my second book, right? So you see my second book, and let me teach the psychology of this book, Emeka, right? So this is my second book, and it's called From Friend to Fiance, right? But the tagline simply says, how to get him to want you without letting him know that you want him to want you. Let me say that again for the ladies who are watching. How to get him to want you without letting him know that you want him to want you. Emeka, you still with me?
Yes, I'm here, sir. Before you go ahead, people are asking how they can get your book. So please, Steve Harris is very popular on Instagram. Go on Instagram right now, all right, or after this session, because they're asking them, somebody's asking they want to buy the 3 books right away. Please go on Instagram.
You should not wait. Let me copy it and paste it to you.
Okay, sir.
Recognize that you're marketers. Emeka, I've posted it in the private chat so you can copy it.
Okay, right? Yes, sir. I will send it to them. Yes.
People ask for your book, don't send them far away.
Yes, so
listen, guys, this is the marketing of it, right? So let me give you an example. So I was talking about this book, From Friend to Fiance, how to get him to want you without letting him know that you want him to want you. So, Emeka, I've sold about 5,000 copies of this book. And let me tell you how this book came about very quickly, right? I was gisting with a friend of mine. She's a girl. And she was talking about how, you know, there's this guy that she really liked. And he friend zoned her. He was treating her like a Christian sister. You know what I mean? And she was like, Steve, I love this guy. I want to get his attention. Now, as somebody who has been a player back in the day and now has retired his jersey, you know what I mean? And is playing for a single club, you know what I mean? I started giving her practical insights on how to get men's attention. So I said to her, you know what, when you know it's going to work in about a week. When it works, you know, holler back at me. Long story short, it works. And she says to me, you know, Steve, you need to write a book about this. Now, every author, remember that I said it's not about your message, it's about the market, right? So I said to her, you know, so I decided to go on Twitter because now Twitter was a bit bigger. So I went on Twitter, I left Facebook, and I started tweeting using the hashtag From Friend to Fiance. And in about an hour, I was trending in Nigeria. You know what I mean? I had over 600 women follow me, and they were all talking about, if you're not following Steve Harris, you're a joker, yada, yada, yada. So it trended. So I knew that that book had the emotional energy to attract the women demographic. So what did I do? Apart from writing the book, very simple book, oh, very simple. Now, if you notice, Emeka, it fits in my palm.
Yes.
And I said to myself, this is the kind of book. So when I was marketing this book, I'll tell women, you don't want any guy to see this. So this book is so small, it can fit in any other book. So you can pretend to read a book,
right? Handbag.
Look inside and just pretend to be reading another book, but be reading this one. This book is small enough to fit into your purse. So you don't have to carry a big Honeywell report size book. You can hide this book in you, and then it's very conversational, very mischievous, and very, very conversational. And I've sold over 5,000 or slightly more of this book. So here's my point. Where am I going with this? When I go to speak, right? When I'm telling them about my book, so I say to them, oh, I've got this amazing book. Ladies, this is the book you want to get. Ladies, it's called From Friend to Fiance, How to Get Him to Want You Without Letting Him Know That You Want Him to Want You, right? The moment I say that, Emeka, the whole place freaks out. I say, you know what, before I even start, just go get the copy. Go and get it right now because we have limited copies. Emeka, I made a mistake. I was invited to speak at a single women's conference, right? I only carried 100 books, right? Because I thought, bad as it bad, maybe we'll sell 50. So let me not carry too many books, right? There were about 1,000 women there. And I just estimated if we sell 50 or 100, at least we'll make 100K, 200K, and we'll leave. Emeka, by the time I started speaking, right, it was the biggest mistake that every woman wanted my book, and I only had 100 copies. So I left so much money on the table, right, because I didn't anticipate the demand. So what I do now is I carry as many of my books as possible.
More.
If I have a big car. If they don't buy
carry it back.
I'll carry the car back home. I'll carry the book back home. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's be over-prepared than underutilized. And so speaking has been very, very, very good. And I'm a salesman. I know how to sell. I know how to sell the destination, not the vehicle.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. So guys, if you look at your screen right now, the link is there for you to go and get Honeywell report. Also, you can follow Steve Harris on Instagram. I am Steve Harris, and then on the link, if you go to his bio on Instagram, that will give you a link to get copies of his books. Right? You can also go to Roving Heights. Roving Heights also has all his books, so you can go to Roving Heights. But right now, Roving Heights, awesome. So you can go look at the link right now. Link is scrolling down on your screen, just below where you're seeing how I made 45 million naira from books. So you can get the link, and then you can get on. Okay, sir. So the last question on my own side that I'm going to ask you is that can you leverage your books for consulting? Because a lot of people know that you are into consulting. Have you ever leveraged on your book to consult for big organizations?
Oh yes. So I remember that with this book, right? Let me tell you a cheat that I did. Should I tell you guys? Huh?
Yes. Please go ahead, sir. For my sake.
Maybe I should just tell you by myself. I should just tell you by yourself.
Okay, let's enter private DM and say.
Let me tell you anyway. I'll say that.
All
right. Remember that I said it's not about your message; it's about the market. So one of the things that I did in this book was, because I'm talking about finances and I'm talking about wealth management. So I as I was writing, I realized that there's opportunities, right? Where's this book? That there's opportunities for me to. Sorry, hold on. I'm looking for a proposal here.
No problem, sir.
Check. Hold on. This proposal is not here. Village people.
we bind them. All the village people, we bind them.
Oh, it's not here. I wanted to show you. Anyway, let me explain it. But anyway, so what I did was in writing the book, I realized that there could be great places that I could use brands to endorse, so brand endorsements. So let me give you an example. So in this book, it's not in this one. Hold on. Which one? I want to show you practically so that this is. not this one. Emeka, just give me 60 seconds.
No problem, sir. Go ahead, please. All the best for us. All right, guys. So you guys are enjoying the session. Before Steve Harris comes in, I hope you have been having an amazing time. You see why all these individuals I'm bringing here, you can see that I've had relationships with them. I had to stretch myself. Going to our bar, going to the church early in the morning to connect with Steve Harris. That was how our relationship has grown over the years. And I have bought into his products. I have talked about his events. I have driven traffic to him. I've even been invited to share some of my testimonies at his events. This is how we build relationship with people. This is how you leverage your relationships to help other individuals. And it's really funny that you've not really invested yourself in all the individuals that I've been bringing here. All of them that I've been bringing here, I've invested one way or the other, either by buying their products, either by talking about their events without them paying me. So I take it upon myself. I take their events and I blow it on my page. When they are coming to Port Harcourt, even without them telling me that they are in Port Harcourt, I take their event and I talk about it on my timeline. They get to see it. These things are adding up to your emotional bank. They're adding up to your relationship capital with people. So somebody will be asking, Emeka, how have you been inviting all the Chomas, all the Steve Harris, all the Bankole Williams and all that kind of stuff? This is my secret. I would have invited Bankole Williams here, but I felt that the entire academy had already been stretched. Bankole Williams would have been here. Now I'm even looking for a way to connect with Leke Alda. And I'm strategically positioning myself to connect with people like Leke Alda. I have connected with I would have brought Fela here, but Fela, I think he's more of now in the national, on the national game than just come here to talk about books. That was why I had to leave Fela out of the whole thing. But trust me, it's about connection with individuals. These are little things. Sometimes Steve Harris, I just send him maybe 1,000. They have needs to make phone calls. Even the data that he's using right now, they have needs. So if you're thinking these guys are big, they are big. I can remember a particular place, a man that I visited. This guy is a man in charge of making billions for a company. I mean, billions of naira. If you walk into his office, billions of naira. Do you know what the guy said to me? That on his birthday, a youth copper that was in his office brought him groundnut in a bottle. Do you know what he said to me? He said that groundnut that the guy gave him was the best gift that he received on his birthday. Forget the cakes, forget the other things, but the best gift, just groundnut. That most times people come and they're always asking from him. They're always asking, give me this, give me this. Even those who are sending cakes, were doing it because they wanted something else in the future, right? To come and take from him in the future. So he knew them. By virtue of even the way he felt, he knew that they were trying to utilize that. So, guys, this is what I'm sharing with you. Do this thing sincerely from your heart, and you can connect with anybody on this earth. That's how it is. And then resilience. So Steve Harris didn't reply my first message. He didn't reply my second message. He didn't reply my third message up until I got to Abba. But some of us, we send a message and we're like, he didn't reply to me, he's too big, he brags a lot, he's too filled with ego.
Too good looking.
So he's too good looking. He has behavior, all those kind of stuff, But then these things should be removed from our brain if you really, really want to do well, right? Stop all those kind of thinking. For this same academy, trust me that not all the people that I invited came. But they had their own reasons, and that's fine because that's how life is. Maybe some other time they could come. So I hope that I was able to pass before Steve. So it seems that the village people will remove the thing from your home.
Yeah, well, so the proposal is not here, but let me. I can still give you one idea. So,
all right, go ahead, sir.
So in writing the book, I realized that there were opportunities for endorsement. So, for example, in one of the pillars of wealth that I was talking about was real estate as an opportunity to get wealth. Can you still hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead. We're hearing you.
Okay. All right. So one of the things that I was talking about in the book was how you can use real estate to leverage wealth. So what I did was I started inserting the names of certain indigenous brands inside the book. So, for example, many of you know Landway, right?
Yes.
So, for example, in talking about the book, I now did like a shout out to Landway. So I put Wale Ayilara and his company Landway inside one of the books. So when the characters were talking, they were like, "Oh no, I bought land from Landway. Now Landway is fantastic. Da 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 da. Wale is a great guy. Da 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 da." Just a small paragraph, maybe like 6 paragraphs on Landway, and then I also created an ad. So when I was talking to Wale, right, I said to him, "Your name is in page XYZ of my book," right? And I said to him, "You know what? What if we can actually customize your books? Landway can buy some of these books and customize it. We can customize it for Landway. We can put an advert inside the book. We can put an endorsement." Emeka, look at this.
Yes.
I had to go and look for one of the copies. So this is the cover of the book. Can you see?
Wow. 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 Guys, can you see this strategy, man? Wow.
So Landway paid me ₦1 million for 200 copies branded in their name. So Landway has their own anything talking about if there was anywhere that I was talking about land and real estate, Landway's name was inside, right? So I gave them. So I had to invest. So what I did, Emeka, was when I first printed this book, because this book is expensive. It's 6,500, right? It cost me almost 5,000 naira to give or take. No, slightly less than that to print each copy, right? So instead of printing 1,000, Emeka, I printed 50. And I printed 50 with the names of 50 indigenous brands I wanted to buy this book. Landway was one of them. So I did 2 copies for Landway. I did 2 copies for another brand, 2 copies for this brand, 2 copies for that brand. And then I would go and have meetings with them and say, this is the book I've written. And then I would print. So before this came in, I actually printed inside this. So I got the design from the website, or their Instagram page. I put it on gloss paper, right? I put it on gloss paper, and then I inserted it inside the copy of the book with gum. So just me, I'll use gum, put it inside as an insert, and I'll show them the book. So when they open the book, that's the first thing they see. So I can say we can customize this book for you, right, with your advert. So any advert you want to give. So when people are reading this book, they will see Landway stuff. So anytime they're thinking about land, it's Landway they will see. They paid me ₦1 million for that. That's not retail sales. Do you get where I'm coming from? I had proposals to different organizations. So everything that I talked about, when I'm talking about insurance, right? Every insurance company that I know, their name, I have books, ordinary book. I'll go and print the design. I'll go and print their adverts, print their flyer, put it inside the book, send it to the MD and say, this is what we're doing. This is how we're sending this book. We can advertise your book, your brand. And I'll say, oh, when I'm talking about insurance in the book, I say open to page XYZ, right? I wish I had the proposal. Unfortunately, I can't show you guys because I can't find the hard copy, but I have the soft copy.
Please send to me because I want to utilize it for my next book. My next book for next year is called Be the Dawn, and that's exactly how I want the book to be. You wrote a book about what's his name, 50 Cents. So yeah. I saw that book, and I'm going to utilize that particular kind of visual. Not me sitting in front, but there's a way right. I'm going to turn my seat this way, and then I'll put the full picture at the back. So the title of the book will be the Dawn. So I'm going to utilize this same strategy. It's going to be hardcover like this, to not be printed for everybody. It's going to be for specific kinds of individuals because I want to sell it for 10,000 naira a copy. So it's going to be bound hardcover like that. I'm thinking of making it glossy or just, but I'm still thinking. But this particular idea that it brought now, I'm really going to utilize it because I need to blow like you so I can make 60 million.
I really wish I could see the comments based on what people are saying concerning that idea. But that's a strategy. That's a practical strategy I use. So I said, the Bible says that if you what's that scripture? It says if you chase the shepherd, the sheep will be scattered, or something like that.
If you smite the shepherd,
if you smite the shepherd, the sheep will scatter. But I thought about it and said, rather than chasing 1,000 sheep, can't I just chase one shepherd?
Yes.
So if you chase the shepherd, the sheep will come together.
Yes. So
I decided, rather than selling this book to 1,000 people, let me speak to one man that is in control of 1,000 people. Let him buy it for 1,000 people, and let there be something in it for him. So that's my marketing.
Fantastic. All right, guys. So I believe.
Sorry, before Corona, we've sold over 1,500 copies of this book. Not to mention all the conversations that are in the pipeline, but I have at least 1,500 copies of this book that was released in February. I've sold 1,500 at 6.5. I don't know how much that is, though, but I shall have the money.
Well done. So thank you very much. Those are all the questions I wanted to ask you today. So guys, we have just 10 minutes with Steve Harris and we will call it a day. We have done 50 minutes already, so remaining 10 minutes. So please drop your questions in the comment section right now. And for each of the questions, I'm going to click on it and then Steve will answer within the 10 minutes that we have, right? So, so let me put up a few things. Maybe you can see, so you are tormenting us with the drink, tormenting us with the drink. It's all part of the strategy. It's all part of the strategy. I want to be like you when I grow up. All right, so somebody's saying my head is blown up. So you can see it on the screen, right?
Yes, I can. I can see it.
Yeah, somebody's saying my head is blown up with strategies from Papa Harris. I want to blow to, you know, somebody's saying, Chai, see strategies, you know. So, which other one? Okay, they are kind of echoing what you said. So Esusa is here. You may know her. I don't know if you know her. She's bought your book.
I don't think I have the privilege. Nice to meet you, Esusa.
Yeah, she's bought your book too. So she was saying in the she's bought your book.
Esusa, how come you haven't given me a video testimonial, girl? You need to give me a video. Let's blow together, shall we?
Esusa, can you hear that? So you need to give a testimonial to Steve Harris, please. So somebody else is saying that corporate art strategies alone is what 7 I paid for 3 days ago to join this academy. So many of you now understand why being in this academy is fine. All right. So guys, if you have questions, please ask your questions now. Ask your questions now. Ask your questions now, please, so that Steve Harris can go for the day. Okay, somebody has asked the first question. I think he has said it. Somebody's asking. Banke is asking, what informed your choice of book title, sir?
Well, for me, it's the problem I want to solve. You know,
yeah. So somebody's asking, what informs your choice of book title? Maybe for your book, Honey, Why Are We Poor?
Right. Well, I mean, for me, I wanted something that would provoke people. I didn't want to say 10 steps to wealth or 7 keys of financial freedom and any of those things. I wanted something that would call, you know, so let me teach you something very quickly. Banke, your marketing must act. Okay, your marketing must act. Now, what does act mean? It must attract attention, right? It must attract attention. So if you look at the cover of my book, my wife is on the cover, right? But let me see the camera angle. Yeah, so my wife is on the cover. So you see this beautiful, fine girl wearing a beautiful dress, parked in front of a black, you know, BMW, and she's wearing a designer bag. She's got Brazilian hair, and then she's holding a bowl and she's begging for money, right? So it attracts attention. The cover says, "Honey, why are we poor?" Right? And you see a rich woman holding a begging bowl. It attracts attention. Number 2, it creates conversation. So ACT is, A stands for attract attention. C stands for create conversation, right? So one of the things that people say when they read the book is, or when they see the cover, is like, well, I'm not poor now. Me, I'm not poor. Why am I, how can you say anywhere? I'm not poor now. You know, but when they now read and say, oh, poverty has evolved, it drives a car, lives in a nice part of town, but is broke, right? It creates conversation, right? And then T stands for turn to transaction. So you need to now turn these conversations into transactions. You know what I mean? So I don't write like an author. I write like a marketer. That's different.
Awesome. So many of them are saying they will write for you right now. So you guys are seeing the same thing. You buy these books. You don't even talk about the books you bought. I buy books. I talk about the books on my timeline. You know, tag Steve Harris, right? This is what I keep saying. So many of them think you're doing the author a favor. These things you never can tell because you want people to also talk about your own book when your own book comes out. You don't want people to keep silent about your book. Why are you not doing the same thing? Reciprocate the gesture, right? You buy a book, enjoy the book, talk about the book, carry it on your head, and tell people that you bought the book. But you don't do that.
They don't even know that I'm subscribed to your email list. I follow Emeka Nobis. I read his emails. You know, I do.
Anyway. Well, I hope they're learning. All right. So Stephen is asking, how do you get to identify the right corporations to partner with your book?
How do you identify the right corporations to partner with your book? I don't know. You've got to. unfortunately, I can't show you my proposal. That's intellectual property. But I mean, you have to be able to do research and find out what's in it for them, right? What's in it for them? So, I mean, for some organization, I can't. Unfortunately, Emeka, please, you have to help me. I may not be able to give you the specifics because of intellectual property, and my boss will kill me. But you need to answer the question: what's in it for them, right?
Mm.
So, beyond just buying a book, how can it help them in what they're doing? Do you get? So that's if you want to pay for consultancy, please talk to Emeka Nobis and we'll make it work. But I can't give you the secret sauce just like that.
All right. So somebody's asking, let me see, a lot of questions are bombing in right now. Dilly is even here too.
Hey, okay. What's up, bro?
Yeah. Who is this? Okay, somebody's asking the organizations you use, does that mean for each organization you printed different copies for them with their brands on the first page?
No, so, well, what you can do, what I did was I printed 50 regular copies and then I inserted and I printed their flyers and inserted it into the book.
Awesome.
So I have my glue stick here and I did all the work manually.
Awesome. This is the difference. This question is I love this question because people who are here, who are authors, they don't see themselves as business people. They're just saying, let me just write for the love of writing. So Marilla is asking, why did you say you're not an author, a writer, but a businessman? She's still wondering if you can answer. So I hope maybe your answer will buttress the things I've been sharing to them. I've been telling them, when you're writing a book, think business. Don't be thinking passion. Don't be thinking, I don't know. Maybe that's me. Maybe I don't know. It's all right, sir.
If you write, the problem is many authors don't know how to sell. You don't know how to market, which is why I salute everybody who's on this program with Emeka Nobis. He's teaching you the marketing, the techniques, the tactics of selling. So you can be passionate. So listen, you can be passionate about poetry, but niggas ain't gonna buy poetry. You know what I mean? Who poetry help, right? You've got to be able to. So think about it this way: the same mental skill that you would use to write poetry that is abstract is the same kind of mental skill that you will need to write poetry for guys to use to toast babes. Do you get it? It's the same brain matter. So let me give this example. So I'll still use the same example. If you're writing generic poetry that is abstract, it doesn't solve anybody's issue. It doesn't help anyone. It's just there. But if you wrote a book and said 50 love letter, 50 lyrics that guys can use to to get any girl to say yes, right? 50 love lyrics that guys can use to get any girl they want. It's poetry. You'll say the same roses are red, violets are blue, but now it's targeted at a particular demographic. It's still poetry, but now the difference is it's now poetry for someone who needs it, right? So don't just write poetry for poetry's sake. Which is why I'm saying I'm not a writer. I'm a businessman. I look for the market and I say, what problem do they have? I found the market that there were women who were single, good girls, Christian girls who don't know how to get guys. And I wrote this book. I've sold at least 7,000 copies of this book. If you do 7,000 times 2,000, because this book was 2000 or 2005, right? Let's say 2,000, that's 14 million naira. And I've not promoted this book, do you get? That's 14 million naira. But it meets the demographic of women who don't know, women who want to get out of the friend zone, or women who want to get the guy to want them without letting the guy know that she wants to want him. Do you get? So that's what it is.
I hope they're getting. It's the same thing I've been echoing all the time, but I hope that they're hearing from the master himself. Somebody's asking, this strategy of connecting with corporate brands, should it be with a brand that you know and trust well? I don't know, maybe because they know you. I don't know. I think that's what
most of the brands I wrote don't know me. They don't know me. Like you can pick a brand out of thin air. You know what I mean? If it helps, see, every organization wants to do 4 things. Your idea, Bashira, has to help them do 4 things. Number 1, make more money. If your idea doesn't help them make money, forget it. Number 2, save money. If your idea doesn't have them save money, forget it. Number 3, grow their market share. If your idea doesn't grow their market share, forget it. Number 4, grow their brand. If your idea doesn't help them grow their brand, forget about it. So those are the 4 things it must do. So you don't necessarily have to know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know most of what these guys do beyond just the notable names, and I just put it in the book.
Amazing. So I'm looking for another question here. Okay, somebody's asking. I think this is straightforward. Is it a must to make the book cover hardcover? My own is not a hardcover. It's not a must.
No, my first 2 books are paperback. This 3rd book is hardback. But when you're talking about money, whatever you're writing must look like you have the money. That it wasn't like you were trying to raise money that you wrote a book about money, right? It's because you have money that you now brought out a book that is quality, so that when people see, they're like, this person self is not hungry. You can't be hungry and write a book about money. No.
Good. Awesome. So another question here. This one is asking, do you mean before writing you identify brands you can feature and then write or weave a story around it?
Well, to be perfectly honest, like this book has taken me, Honey Why We Pour has taken me 7 years to write, and I didn't have the strategy at the beginning to say that I'm going to weave organizations. It was as I was writing that I realized that as I was talking about certain things, I would bring into the story brands that I felt, you know, were doing a pretty good job and could help the characters in the book. So rather than say, create a bank that doesn't exist, I can say, oh, you know, for example, First Bank has this Kiniko, and I'll talk a bit about it. You know what I mean? Right? And then I can use that strategy and take it to First Bank and say, listen, guys, in this book, I've talked about how your brand helps them do this, that, and the other. And guess what? This, my book that is 6.5, is cheaper than advertising on Instagram. It's cheaper than radio ads. It's cheaper than TV ads. It's cheaper than this. So you'll save money. If you buy this book at 5,000 naira and you spend 5 million naira on this book, it will give you a greater return on investment. I know you have to understand the language of your customers. I don't write like a speaker. I write like a marketer. I understand what the banks are looking for. I understand what the real estate companies are looking for. I understand what the insurance companies are looking for. And I do proposals, and all my proposals are different. So if I'm doing proposals to insurance companies, they're all the same, but I tweak a few things here and there because I know about their businesses.
Awesome. So somebody's asking, how can one get you to review their books?
You can't.
Yeah.
You can't. And I'm not trying to say that as an arrogant statement, and I do mean no disrespect. The truth is I don't have the time. I rarely ever review or endorse people's books. The few that I do are people that I have great relationships with. And even when I do, right, I have a caveat. I say to you, send me your best chapter, because I sure as hell I'm not going to be able to have the time to sit and read your entire book. So the best I will say to you is, if I agree to do it, I'll say, send me your best chapter. And I'll tell you as you're sending it, if your best chapter doesn't blow me away, I will not endorse it. Are we good? If you say yes, after I've read your book, and you say, sir, how far? And I tell you, oh, it didn't blow me away. You can't get offended because I've told you. Because for me to put my name on it, that means I know that what you're saying, if your best chapter can't blow me away, then I'm not even going to put my name on it. So generally you can't do that. But even when I do that, those are the hoops you'll have to jump. Your best chapter has to blow me away. If it doesn't blow me away, I won't endorse it.
Awesome. So somebody's asking, what's the importance of building a healthy tribe and community like MBT in pushing your message and brand?
Oh, it's amazing. It's if you have a brand, a tribe of people who are amazing. I mean, one of the things, and thank you for recommending MBT. One of the things that my tribe has done for me is they truly believe in me because I really do care about them. You know what I mean? And I pick no bones. I mean, I have people in MBT that do the exact same thing as me, and I don't have a problem in promoting them. Right? So for example, if any of you are asking me for strategies, don't come and meet me. Go and meet Emeka Novis. Right? Emeka knows what the hell he's talking about. You know what I'm saying? So don't come and meet Steve Harris and say, Emeka Novis is here. Meet him. He will solve your problem. He will finish. He will get it where it hurts, and then maybe later you can come and meet me. But to have a tribe it's a really good thing. So it's about them.
Okay, so I think I think final 2 questions here. This person is asking, how do you market your books outside Nigeria since you hardly run ads, or do you just sell within Nigeria?
No, I don't. I don't actually well, to be honest, I mean, ads are something I don't have a problem with them. It's just I haven't, to be honest, gotten around to them. But I do sell my books internationally. But again, I think one of the benefits of having a large list of followers and a large email list is because I have a lot of people who are diverse in different countries who follow me or who are subscribed to my content. So they generally do buy. I mean, my books are on Amazon, so people buy on Amazon. So every other day I'm getting $20, $200, or whatever the point is for my books on Amazon. I will take my ads seriously now, but you know, everything I've done to this point has been organic.
Okay, so I think this should be the final question. Won't there be conflict between organizations, considering that some are competing for the same market?
How so?
I don't know.
If I'm including a particular bank in my book or in my proposal, right? I'm sending it to that bank. I'm sending the same proposal to another to another bank. If you want it, if there's conflict of interest, it's because you're not ready to pay for exclusivity. So there's that offer on the table. That listen, if you want me to just leave your name in this brand, then you can pay me a fee for exclusivity. If not, you can't. When you buy fuel from the gas station, you don't say to the gas guy or the gas station that you can't sell to another car. You didn't pay them for exclusive rights. You get what I'm saying? So no brand has paid me for exclusive rights. So it's open season. I'm loyal to myself and the people I'm trying to serve.
Okay, guys. So I think some of these questions are all similar. I think Shutu is asking that I didn't show her question. How do you get to talk about the different companies? What the different companies do in your book? You know, I think you've discussed that already. You can rewatch the session. Steve Harris mentioned that already. How do you intentionally advertise for them or your contents? You know, he has already mentioned that during the session. So you can rewatch this session again, and then you can get him. You can get that already. So guys, you can see on the screen. Let me put it again. All of you are seeing on the screen how to get a copy of the book. It's scrolling.
Don't call me if you haven't bought this book. I'm looking at my phone. I haven't gotten any credits alert, so I know for a fact nobody has bought this book yet. So.
They will buy. You know, maybe they are just focused on listening to you. All right, guys. So thank you for being here. Let us all say thank you in the comment section to Steve Harris. We pledged. I told him that we're going to do just 1 hour. We have done 6 minutes. Steve Harris was here exactly 11:56 a.m. and that is something that I told him to be at the back end by 11:56 a.m. and he was here exactly at 11:56 a.m. I told him we were going to do just 1 hour, but now we have done 1 hour 7 minutes. I don't want to break my promise to him because he's someone that I respect a whole lot. And I'm glad, really glad for Steve Harris to have done this, for you to pay him to be here for 1 hour. Guys, go and check out his fee. It's not something cheap to get by. All right. So you guys have seen the value. And as I always say, please go and talk about him on your timeline, right? Tell everybody what you learned today. So don't just go there and say, Steve Harris finished me. He was the bomb. No, the bomb is not what he threw. He did not throw bomb. He said certain things that were very, you know, yeah. So buy the book and then talk about what he shared with you today so that other people can see what he has done and then they can also follow him. This is how we can pay every speaker that is coming here to be a blessing to us. Please do that today. We have learned from him that this is a spiritual thing to do. Share about people's works, talk about what he has done, talk about Steve Harris today. His pictures are all over the place. Download it, talk about it, download the picture of the book, talk about it so that people can go to get the book. This is how we pay. All right, so guys, so thank you very much, sir. Many of them are already writing stuff. Let me put a few of them on the screen. Thank you, Steve. I celebrate you always. Looking forward to meeting you. Rahima said, I'm definitely buying the latest book. I've heard a lot about from your students who've helped create online courses. You are amazing. You're a generous giver. Thank you. Some other person is saying, thank you, Steve Harris. We appreciate you. Keep moving forward. Sandra is saying, thank you, Steve Harris. Esosa. So Steve Harris said he should do a video. Please do a video since you have the book. Send him the video, tag him, put the video on your timeline on Instagram. He's going to receive the notification, and then he has an app that he can download the video and repost it again on his timeline, right? So Esosa is saying, thank you, Steve Harris, and thank you, Emeka. This is the best 5,000 naira I've ever spent. We bless God for that. Man, that's it, sir. Many of them were still doubting me when they saw the things that I put on my timeline about this academy. Many people didn't even believe up until yesterday that we are going to be here. That's so much mistrust that we see in the nation. Some of the people thought that, I just put Steve Harris' picture there. He's not going to come. Emeka, using that as a marketing gimmick. Anyway, I don't know how else to tell them that my brand is all about the truth and integrity. Well done, guys. So somebody else is saying thank you. I think somebody from MBT is here. You are awesome. I think many people from MBT are also here. Somebody saying boss MBT all the way. So hailings to you, sir. All your people are saying thank you to you for that.
If you are not, if you're not on MBT, you're not cool enough. That's what it is. You're just not cool enough.
I'm also a member, although I've not been inducted. But I'm the first person to have been trained. Founding member. All right, guys. So thank you so much for being part of this session. So, sir, thank you all the way from the city of Port Harcourt. Thank you for this amazing session, for everything that you've shared with us, for all the mind-blowing strategies you've shared with us. And trust me, many of us are going to utilize what you have taught us today, and we are going to get so many results in our lives. The intention is that for those who are going to be releasing their books, they'll be selling at least 1,000 copies of their books in the next 3 months, in the next 90 days. And I believe that with everything that we've been hearing, we will do that. Paul Ford will be here tomorrow at 3 p.m. because Sunday is the only day he said he was going to be available. So Paul Ford is going to be here on tomorrow to share with us also amazing selling strategies that you can utilize for your book. Please do tune in tomorrow at 3 p.m. I'm going to send messages. And then I'm going to send the link to buy Steve Harris' message to you via WhatsApp. For those of us who are not able to grab it right now, after this, I'll put the link and then you can go and buy the book. This is how we can say thank you to him for being here. All right. Thank you, sir. God bless you so much. My regards to your wife and to your beautiful daughter, who is no longer so little, but has grown into a beautiful babe. Please, my regards to her. And thank you all the way from here in Port Harcourt to you. God bless you, sir. And sir, I was thinking this because it just got to me when I saw your picture the other day. You prayed for the people who had attended your session. I was thinking if you can say 1 or 2 minutes of prayer for everyone who is in this academy, spiritually, so that we can, even though we are mastering physical things, but I think there's a move in the spirit that can help every one of us here to also do things and get amazing results. So if you can just release a word of prayer for us, blessing us. It just came to me, if you can, sir.
Sure. I'd love to. So, Father, thank you for these ones who are watching. Thank you because, Lord, you're the one who put the messages in their heart. But now, Lord, it's our responsibility to bring it out. So, Father, we ask, oh God, that even as you've put these thoughts, these words into our hearts, that, Lord, give us expression, Lord, that people will constantly desire the words we say in Jesus' name. You know, Father, it is undisputed that the Bible perhaps is the world's most best-selling book. And the Bible rarely advertises, but it's a message that is timeless. So, Father, we ask, Lord, that our messages will be timeless. Our messages will find market. Our messages will be expressed through the right mediums. Our messages will find the right members, and our messages will give us all the money we want. We pray in Jesus' name.
Amen. Thank you very much. The prophecy has gone forth. Let your books sell. Your books now must sell. Amen. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. God bless you, and bye-bye.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate it.